That Les Paul guitar noise turn the world upside down. Oh yeah, the music made me do it. Not a damn thing I can do. Oh yeah, the music made me do it. Now I'm gonna do it to you. Everybody loves the groove. You got to get up and move and take it into your soul. You couldn't tear me away. I need it every day. I love the rock and roll. It grabbed me by the balls when I heard the blues. Chuck Berry voted a little Richard too. Oh yeah, the music made me do it. Not a damn thing I can do. Oh yeah, the music made me do it. Now I'm gonna do it to you. I'm gonna do it to you. The music made me do it every time. Oh yeah, the music made me do it. Not a damn thing I can do. Oh yeah, the music made me do it. Now I'm gonna do it to you. I said, oh yeah, the music made me do it. Not a damn thing I can do. Oh yeah, the music made me do it. Now I'm gonna do it to you.
Great job. Ted Nugent. Where's Ted Nugent? Where's Ted? Huh? Look at you. You doing well? You are a handsome devil. Thank you. Great job, Ted. Thank you very much. Appreciate you being here.
And now, it's time for Ted Nugent's Spirit Campfire with John Brenkus. It's the physics of spirituality with attitude.
I got the spirit of the wild inside of me. I got the spirit of the wild inside of me. Full time baby, I got the spirit of the wild inside of me. Brenkus, do you have the spirit of the wild inside of you?
I have the spirit of the wild. I have the spirit campfire, and I also have the spirit of Christmas in me. 2020, listen, 2020 can just go suck it. I'm putting up my Christmas tree. I put it up November 1, and I don't know if I'm ever taking it down. That's the truth.
Well, we might as well celebrate Jesus' birthday every damn day because we
That's
need
right.
all the help we can get. Brenkus, I want to welcome you to the Ted Nugent Spirit Campfire with John Brenkus, the physics of spirituality with the beatitude of the attitude. And this is November, is it the 9th already? Is that right?
Something like
Today,
that.
November 9th. Are you
Yeah.
are you
It
flushing
is.
my budget? It is the 9th of November. I sat all morning in the cleavage of God's dear heaven. See, I think God is a woman, and so I, instead of being in its lap, I like to spend my time in the cleavage. So I was in the cleavage of God's dear heaven, and I never saw a deer. So I went back to another deer epicenter on the sacred swamps of Michigan. Not one deer. I saw nothing. But last night, Brenkus, it was a warm night. And Shemaine, you go ahead and tell. She doesn't like the cold. If it's under 88 degrees, she goes,
That's
I
right.
need a babushka.
Shemaine, tell me about the adventure.
Well, I have my guide and hunting hubby here. So I really got a shortcut to hunting. I wasn't raised in a hunting family, and Ted, just having him show me the ropes, basically I learned so much in a short period of time. So that being said, we went out in a tree stand that he had already checked out, made sure the wind was right and everything, and deer started coming in. But the problem was there were 2 spikes that had their eyes on us. We couldn't move for over an hour. Like an hour? More than an hour. Hello?
It was at least an hour. I'm playing.
He's writing a song. You're doing a little.
The wild inside.
It's the soundtrack for your story.
I got that spirit of the wild inside of me. Anyhow, I got the Queen of the Forest, and she was like a statue. John, in your life, you're a young man. You're a vital. You're vibrant. You're alive. You're spontaneous.
I appreciate that.
Energized. But is there a period in your life, or anybody out there at the Spirit of the Wild, by the way, planet Earth, New Zealand, and Australia, all across North America, and all around the world, welcome to the Ted Nugent Spirit Campfire with John Brenkus on November 9th. And on November 8th, it was 76 degrees, set a 100-year warm record. So Shemaine goes, it's warm enough I can sit in a tree. But my question is there anything in your life where you have to sit motionless? On the toilet, doesn't matter, doesn't count. Where you have to be motionless for 3 hours?
You mean while awake?
Yes, wide awake, but motionless for 3 hours. Shemaine did it. And the rewards were she waited for the right shot on a great Michigan forest donkey, whitetail beast of a buck.
A swamp
Shemaine,
donkey.
You tell the story. I'll show the picture.
I have to tell you, there were times when I thought, well, this is stupid. I'll just go to the grocery store and get a burger for the venison spaghetti that I made and call it something else. And, it's a lot. I think if more people hunted and only relied on bow hunting specifically to get their dinner, we'd be a lot healthier. We wouldn't have the pandemic of obesity and overweight that we do now. And nobody would waste their food. So it makes you appreciate everything. And plus, you're in the great outdoors. It was a beautiful day. It was a beautiful sunset. And it was not, the only thing that I didn't love is that when I'm in a blind, I can read my book. But he's right. You couldn't move. Like I felt like I moved my eyeballs, and they heard or saw me move my eyeballs.
Now listen, Ted. When I come down to Texas and we're gonna go on our first hunt, you better have somebody scouting, pushing as many animals our way as possible, because I can't sit still even when I'm sleeping.
It's hard, bro.
Well, Brenkus, I'm going to tell you right now, you're on with the Whackmaster Strap Assassin 1, the Spirit of the Wild Daddy. And I'm promising you, you've heard, I suspect it's a big wake-up call. But before I get into the wake-up call and what you can expect, tell the people about the moment of truth and what your timing, when you chose to draw that bow back. In fact, pick up your bow right there.
Oh, boy.
Shemaine is so graceful, so stealthy that, come on over here.
That's the word on the street, by the way. They call her Shemaine Stealthy. That's actually her nickname.
Or they call me Katniss. One of the two.
One or the other.
Anyhow, when the moment of truth comes, those deer, God designed them to avoid predators. And the deer in Michigan are hunted relentlessly. They're afraid of their own shadow. They're afraid of each other. So they're constantly looking. And when that deer gave Shemaine that perfect broadside shot, she went
presented itself.
Yes. Well, for a half of a second.
Then you shoot that deer.
Right.
No.
And when the deer wasn't looking, I was over her shoulder with the camera for Spirit of the Wild TV, and I captured this, and she shot that deer with by the way, it's only a 35-pound bow. This is one of the most important messages of the Spirit Campfire. She shoots a lightweight, graceful 35-pound. In the world of bow hunting, John, that is extremely low poundage, which means low velocity, low power.
But what I have to do, because it's so low, and I get messages, emails, and DMs.
Almost got you again, didn't
You
I?
almost got me again. You want to tell the story about what happened in Africa?
We'll do that another time.
Go on.
I have to wait for the proper shot where the animal goes just not perpendicular to you, not even to the side. It has to go like this.
The front leg and shoulder has to be forward because she shoots a lightweight bow, which again, it's about patience, stealth, timing, dedication, and she practices with her bow all the time. In fact, before we go out, we film for over 500 episodes of Ted Nugent Spirit of the Wild on our channel. But this is that really inexpensive cold steel 2-blade broadhead called the bone saw, and with only a 35-pound bow. And this is what a lot of people don't realize.
Yeah.
What's that?
Jeez.
You were getting.
Yeah, you're like
emphasizing. It's like a pointer. It's like a laser. She sent that broadhead clean through a 275-pound mature Michigan swamp buck. So everybody out there that goes, well, I can't draw my bow, so I have to go gun hunting or I have to get a crossbow. No. Get a lightweight bow that is graceful.
And may I say, get a pink Matthews.
I might use that one. Shemaine, would you loan that one to me?
You can, when you come down, you can try it, John.
All right, because listen, I'm all about the pink. I love it.
You know what? I got pink shoes on. So
like it.
Why not?
Why not?
Why not? You
know what?
It makes you happy, and it makes you want to get out and go hunting. I mean, that's the biggest thing. We need to get more women
I have
involved.
a pink phone charger. But anyhow, Shemaine, congratulations.
Thank you.
She was really wonderful. She's very dedicated. Once again, everybody on the Spirit Campfire, I don't know if you see that, but there's that magnificent giant buck that Shemaine
That's amazing.
shot.
With my Matthews bow.
A lightweight Matthews 35-pound bow.
Herbert, I just texted you. I texted you 2 pictures. See if you can pull the pictures up, because I got to show Ted what I did this weekend, which is like, it seems like there's no way this is possible. But Herbert, I texted you 2 pictures. See if they came through and pull them up.
Let's see if they came through. I can close my eyes and see you. What do you call it? Wake surfing? Is that what you're doing?
That's right. Wake surfing. That's right. Yeah, I went to what I did this weekend is I went up to Delaware for a lacrosse tournament for my son. And so I'm in the state of Delaware, and we all know who's from Delaware. By the way, Patriot Mobile, we got to give them a lot of love. Patriot Mobile, go to patriotmobile.com/Ted. So anyway, listen, I'm up in Delaware, and it's a lacrosse tournament, and they force every kid there to wear a mask on the outside of their lacrosse helmets.
That's dumb.
I like if Herbert gets this picture, when you see it, you're just not going to believe that was the standard.
We believe, especially.
Oh, you believe me? So then there also was a sign that greeted you that was not here are our COVID-19 protocols. It says, stop the spread of germs. This is a CDC sign. It doesn't say stop the spread of COVID-19. Stop the spread of germs. Aren't like germs. I was like waiting to find a sign that said stop the spread of cooties. Like, how are we stopping germs? Like, that's an awfully broad category to now try to take on.
It's important that you're bringing that up.
It is.
Because the dumbing down of America seem to have targeted leftists. Your brain has to be fried to follow those people, especially if that is considered an official statement from a meaningful, qualified medical source, that you're going to have to wear a mask to stop in 2020, then all of a sudden we can stop the spread of germs.
Germs. Germs. Like germs. What? Like you mean every kind of illness? Everything? Is that what a germ is? Like anything? So you know what, Ted, I bet you didn't know this, but every year human beings get sick and they die. Here, look at this. This is a real sign. Go into that, Herbert. Stop the spread of germs. And that is a CDC sign. Herbert, go to the next shot of, look at that. Stop the spread of germs. Now go to the shot with the lacrosse helmets. Look at this. Look at that. That's a real picture.
John, I'm telling you, everybody, welcome to the Spirit Campfire. It's all about positive energy, spirit, piss, and vinegar. But if that's not another indicator that power-abusing monster bureaucrats are testing us to see how much bullshit we will take, and if you can convince a human being that a mask on the outside of a helmet has any benefit to the human species or the environment, I will kiss your ass with Caitlyn Jenner's lips.
Do you want to know what your problem is, Ted? You want to spread germs. You're a germ spreader.
I am a germ spreader. Yes, indeed.
You're a germ spreader.
72 years. And by the recipients of my germs, there's a shit-eating grin on their faces, by the way, John. So, John, I'm glad you were there. I'm glad you brought that to our attention, because real boots on the ground, hands-on eyewitness experience is much more meaningful, beneficial information than all this book, media, fake news, propaganda ministry. So I'm gonna say what I said on Joe Pagg's radio show today. Joe Pagg's what a great guy. In fact, let me salute Joe Pagg's national show, Mark Davis out of Dallas, Frank Beckman out of Detroit, Michael Berry out of Houston. These are national shows. And there's so many others. Lars Larson out in the great Northwest. I do this media all the time. And I share my experiences. I don't give them hunches. I don't presume anything. I say, this arrow did that. Now I know that this arrow did that. This guitar will do that. Now I can tell you with total confidence and a certainty that this guitar does it, because I did it, I lived it, I witnessed it, I imprinted this information. So here's what I'm going to share before we bring on our incredible guest tonight. Like every guest, I have a list here of our guests on the Spirit.
You do. Campfire. It's unreal.
It's really, we really are humbled and honored. You know, we call it a campfire, and even though it's electronic and we're taking advantage of the enemies of freedom and the enemies of the First Amendment, we nonetheless are getting truth, logic, common sense, positive energy, goodwill, decency, and a real delivery of important information based on real evidence. And our guest tonight is Mark Geist, who was on the roof in Benghazi, John. He is a hardcore sportsman, a hardcore we the people constitutionalist. And Mark Geist is one of those rare animals that qualifies as a true American warrior hero. So he's our guest tonight. But before I get into that, and I'm sure we'll reiterate this numerous times with this great guest, but ladies and gentlemen, it is November 9, 2020. The reason the world is so jacked out of shape is because we, the people who bust our ass to be in the asset column, have not done what the founding fathers told us to do. And if we really examine the history of America, an experiment in self-government isn't just a neat little catchphrase. It actually has meaning. We, the citizens, do not accept kings, tyrants, or emperors, or despots, or out-of-control, power-abusing bureaucrats, James Comey, Hillary Clinton, Eric Holder, Barack Obama, et al. The missing link, John, is for we the people to always be suspicious of those who we hire to represent us in this experiment in self-government. And I kid you not, a lot of people are dismissing what I'm about to tell you, but I believe this with all my heart and soul. If every American who believed in God, family, country, Constitution, Bill of Rights, Ten Commandments, Golden Rule, the Declaration of Independence, and law and order, if every American who knows damn well there's no such thing as systemic racism in America, every American out there that absolutely knows that George Floyd did not deserve a hero send-off because George Floyd killed himself with substance abuse, George Floyd was a liability to himself, to his family. He was a liability to his neighborhood. He was a liability to America. George Floyd was a liability, a thug, a criminal punk-ass thug who was a liability to humankind and everything and everyone around him, and that the Democrats treated him better than they would treat Brian Terry, who was killed by the guns that Barack Obama and Eric Holder ran to the Mexican drug cartels, but a lifetime thug substance abuser who fought the police in Minneapolis And eventually, even though he was gagging and he couldn't breathe in the back seat, John, he was killing himself with fentanyl. Everybody knows that when you ingest fentanyl, you're on the way to death. Everybody knows that when your entire life is about criminal activity and jeopardizing life and limb and goodwill and all positive energy to all the people around you, that you are a liability, and the police had to restrain him, even though he declared, I can't breathe in the back seat all by himself. So those people that know these self-evident truths that I'm sharing with you tonight, you need to call your mayor every week. You need to call your governor every week. You need to call your senator and your congressman every week, and you need to tell them that you support President Trump because he's a constitutionalist and he brought the quality of life in America in an unprecedented high level before the Chinese attack, and that Joe Biden is against all the policies that bring us quality of life, safe streets and neighborhoods. And if you don't express that to your mayor, your governor, your congressman, and your senator every week, they think you don't matter, and they will destroy America. And by the way, this is a scramble for damage control, because we weren't engaged efficiently or responsibly for quality control. If we'd always have done that, we would have had quality control. Barack Obama would have never become the president. Bill Clinton would have never become the president. George Bush 1 and George Bush 2 would have been identified as the scam artists that they were. So if you're not experimenting in self-government, the people that hate America will crush you. That I'm going to say this in a different way, or in the same way, every campfire, because the other side isn't winning. We are losing because we're not kicking adequate ass. Now, I'll leave it with that because, John, I want you to meet my good friend and an American hero. Truly, we talk about sheepdogs and warriors. This guy coming on right now, his name is Mark Geist. He's coming in from Colorado to the Ted Nugent Spirit Campfire with John Brenkus. John, say hello to my blood brother of the great spirit of the wild and freedom, Mark Geist. Mark, say hi to my buddy, John.
Mark, how are you doing? Thank you so much for coming on.
Hey, thanks a lot. It's great to meet you, John. And Ted, it's a pleasure as always. You know that.
So, Mark, as I was going on with my rant and my rave, which, by the way, some people say, well, nobody wants to know what a guitar player believes. Well, guitar players qualify as we the people last time I checked. This one certainly does. I've certainly earned my we the people credit. Was any word, was any segment, was any sentence of my rant inaccurate?
No, not at all. I mean, it's so well said every time you say it, and it needs to be said and needs to be shouted across the country. I mean, the only losers in this election are we the people, because no one's going to have faith and trust in this if we do not allow this election to go through its process. I mean, we are sitting here and we're so brainwashed that the media thinks that they get to call the election. The media is out there telling everybody what it is when not a single state has certified the vote. It's ridiculous. I mean, most people they've been so conditioned that, hey, the media, what do I do? Hey, I got to go to Fox News or MSNBC or CNN. That's who I'm going to go to get my information on how the world is supposed to be ran. I mean, it is just ridiculous. I mean, I'm like you. I get up in arms every time I start thinking about it. If they have a fair and free election and it shows that Donald Trump didn't win, hey, I'll live with that. But one is, we ain't going to see that. I'm almost positive. And that's the way it is. I mean, it's just ridiculous what we're seeing in this country right now. And all of these sheeple that are not willing to stand up and be a part of the solution instead of remaining a part of the problem.
Well, Mark, here it is, November 9th. We'll get to the most important thing of all. Are you having a good hunting season?
I am. I've had a great hunting season. was able to get up to Wyoming. I got a 6x6 whitetail. I got a 13 and a half inch speed goat. And
wow.
Last week I got a 6x5 elk about 35 minutes from my house.
Wow. And what you talk about a speed goat, John, that's the unique species to America. It's neither a goat nor an antelope. It's the pronghorn, which was, the estimates were that they outnumbered the American bison when Lewis and Clark were coming west. It's a fascinating, beautiful animal, beautiful coloration, and it's the only species in the world that sheds the outer core, the sheath of its horns every year, because they're not even really horns. They're not horns or antlers. So the American pronghorn is a very special and unique animal. And the reason Mark referenced it as a speed goat is because it's the fastest North American land mammal. But we can go right back. We can go right back to Mark's origins. You were raised in a hunting family, weren't you, Mark?
I was raised in southeastern Colorado. I mean, hunting, fishing, farming, ranching, that's what we did. That was the way of life.
John's going to be coming hunting for the first time. John's a spear fisherman, and he cherishes his outdoor time the same reason you and I do, because it cleanses the soul. But John, I hope, we've had some incredible guests. We had Joey Jones on. Brenkus, wouldn't it be awesome if it was you, me, Mark Geist, Joey Jones, and Shemaine, and Lizzie on a hunting trip in Texas?
I think it would be amazing. First and foremost, it would be awesome because I would feel very safe. So I know that no matter what happens, I'm in good hands. I want to know from you, Mark, though, tomorrow is the Marine Corps birthday.
Yes, it is.
And I want you to talk about the significance of that.
It's the Marine Corps. It's hard to even explain the difference between that and the rest of the services. We've been around for 245 years. We are the most premier fighting force that we have. Each and every Marine, whether they're male, female, they are first and foremost riflemen, and their job is to take the fight to the enemy. And we live for that. I talked to a bunch of my Navy SEAL buddies, and it's always interesting because they're like, if they're going to operate in an area of operation, they want to operate in the Marine Corps area of operation. And I'm like, why is that? And they're like, because if we get into trouble, if we're in an Army AO or something like that, we got to call the Army. They've got to send it up the chain of command to get permission to come out. Marine Corps, they just come out and they kill everything that needs to be killed, and then they go back and ask for permission later, and it's too late then, so who's going to care, right? And that's just the way they do business. And, I had the pleasure in Benghazi. There was 3 of us there. There was 3 Marines, myself, Tig, and DB. And we had 60,000 rounds of ammo. I knew without a doubt that there wasn't going to be a problem as long as they didn't bring in any indirect fire on us.
Mark, let's talk a little bit about Benghazi, because I think the key points here is that you guys, just a handful of you guys, took on an attack were there thousands of terrorists? Were there up to 1,000 of them at any time?
I don't think there was ever that many. And I never got an exact number. What I did hear was that they had found that we had killed somewhere between 150 and 300. So you figure if I'll go with the lower number. Let's say we killed 100 or 150. There was probably at least 2 to 3 times that many that were wounded as well. But I'm guessing the numbers that throughout the night from the very beginning to the end, probably somewhere in the 400 or 500, maybe at best. And maybe that's a little bit too gracious on my part. But, I was an old gunny told me when I was a young Marine that, you don't have to worry about that bullet with your name on it, because it's going to get you because it has your name on it. The ones you got to worry about are those that come down range that say, to whom it may concern. That's where you got to watch yourself.
Wow. You lost some brothers there. And is it accurate for this guitar player who basks in the freedom that you warriors provide every day to the best of my ability? Is it accurate to say that when you took your oath to the Constitution, that oath is what drove you to continue to fight for your country? Because you know this is the only freedom in the history of mankind. True freedom, true individual freedom is guaranteed by the sacred documents, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. Did that oath drive you through even as you had to carry the remains of your brothers off that roof?
Well, it did, and you don't go into that kind of business without understanding that you're going to lose people. I mean, it's kind of like bull riding. It ain't if, it's when. You do this long enough, you're going to lose friends, and you're going to lose guys to your left and right. And you better be ready for that, in the beginning. My hero was my grandfather. I mean, he served in World War II. He had 5 Purple Hearts, served under Patton as a tank commander, Silver Star, Bronze Star. I had 3 uncles that served during Vietnam, 2 in the Navy, 1 in the Marine Corps. I mean, that sense of service and that sense of pride in who we are and what this country is about has been ingrained into me it's in my DNA. There ain't no other way to look at it. And, we do that selfless service, and it's not for us, it's for everybody else. I mean, whether you agree or disagree with me, I'm willing to protect that Constitution for each and every American. The problem I have with a lot of these people is they don't think the Constitution should be interpreted in its original form. They try to want to change it to fit what works for them. I mean, and we've gone through this pattern through our history in this country that we're wanting to make our laws based on how it makes people feel. I don't give a crap how somebody feels. This is the way it is, and these are the standards that are set by the founding fathers who, if you really think about it, had the mindset and the history and the experience to project what the problems were going to be because they lived through them with England and in France and in Germany and all those countries. I mean, so many of the people that helped keep this country alive have immigrated from those countries. And we saw it in Florida with how many of the Cubans knew that they didn't want to vote for Biden because they've been in a socialist communist regime. And it's all of those that we fight for, each and every American. And that's, I think, one of the things that hurts us the most is when people, when they kneel for the flag. I mean, they have no idea what they're kneeling for because the very fabric that they get to kneel on, the field that they're playing on, is only there because of the blood of the warriors and our patriots who have served for so many years and have died to keep this country free. And they have the arrogance to be able to want to sit there and say, I'm going to kneel for this. Hey, I support your right to protest. Just don't do it on my neck.
Right. Mark, here's one thing that's interesting is, first of all, thank you so much for your service and dedication. One of the things you've done is you create an incredible nonprofit of the Shadow Warriors. Can you talk to us about the nonprofit and how people can get involved?
Yeah, I was on the hospital bed in Walter Reed, and I knew I wasn't going to be able to go back to work. And I just wanted to find a way to be able to still take care of my brothers and sisters that are out there serving. And as private security contractors, the thing that most people don't realize is, we do get paid good, but the day I left Libya, which was September 12th, my pay stopped. So I'm spending another 6-8 weeks in the hospital, another 2 years recovering with more surgeries. And I'm living on workman's comp. And, if it wasn't for the grace and generosity of a few people, it would have been hard for us to keep our house and still make our bills. So that was one of those things that really kind of set with me in my heart is it's my way of continuing to serve, but it's being able to take care of those that have gone through what I went through and make sure that they're not going to have to worry about that. Because the last thing a person should have to worry about, whether it be the wife who lost their husband or a spouse whose husband is injured and can't work anymore, is whether or not they're going to have a place to live, whether or not they're going to be able to have Christmas. And so that's really why me and my wife decided to start that. And we've recently just expanded it into providing service dogs to our veterans. And this year we've been blessed by having a donor who's helping us build a 12,000 square foot training facility in Lubbock, Texas. Wow. And what we're going to do is And I just got off the phone with some people at Texas Tech tonight. We're working on a partnership there to do PTS treatment. And I don't know if I want to call it treatment, but we're using service dogs, which are, fur missiles. Our Belgian Malinois, our shepherd breeds, our German shepherds and Dutch shepherds, matching them up. And then part of that is going to be them guys telling their story. And, each one of us has a story to tell. And most of us that serve in the military, we have that life story as well. And there's a reason we gravitate towards that family that we call the Marine Corps, or the Army, or the Navy. And it's because a lot of times we didn't have that wonderful family that a lot of Americans have. And that's our way of doing that. So guys got to get that taken care of. And, I just feel like I can help. And if I can, I'm going to do everything I can to help those that are continuing to serve this country.
Hey, Mark, I get a lot of mileage on my social media. I'm a loudmouth guy, and I get a lot of attention for a lot of good causes.
I hear that about you.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. I love me. That's what I love most about me. There's so many reasons, but that's one of the biggest reasons. Bottom line is, I want to offer all my resources to help promote it. What is the name of the foundation? How can people visit that?
It's shadowwarriorsproject.org is the website. You can go there and see what we do and how we're helping our veterans, how we're helping our private security contractors that are getting out there that work behind the lines. I always tell people we have about 273 diplomatic facilities around the world. And Benghazi is, as much as it's representative of one of the most evil women that I've ever met in my life, Hillary Clinton, really what it's representative of is all of those who serve on a rooftop somewhere tonight. I mean, we're not as, we've kind of pulled back a lot out of the wars because President Trump, but we are always going to have guys in harm's way and gals in harm's way, whether it be at an embassy, a consulate, any type of facility that we have around the world. And there's people out there willing to put their lives on the line for us. So the least I can do is make sure I'm here to help them when they get injured or killed, and help them and their families. And so
I use the term blood brother all the time, kind of an Aboriginal, Native American, Native African term about a tribe that will always be there for each other. I think it was ingrained in the Native American lifestyle, and it's certainly ingrained in the U.S. Marines and all the different branches of the military that I know. Once again, what is the name of the foundation? What's that website?
shadowwarriorsproject.org.
shadowwarriorsproject.org. I'm going to put that up on my Facebook and on my website. But let's work together to try to get some maximum exposure for that, because I know that everybody here on the Spirit Campfire, they've proven it over and over and over again, that they know that freedom is not free. They know that freedom as experienced in the United States of America, unprecedented individual freedom, has been paid for with the ultimate sacrifice of thousands and thousands of hero warriors who intentionally and knowingly charged into that fire. So we salute you, and we salute all our military heroes and all our law enforcement and first responders from all the different branches of sheepdogs around the country. So I know I speak on behalf of John and his family and everybody watching the Spirit Campfire tonight that we apologize. We apologize for not being pushy enough, not being forceful enough to demand constitutional accountability, because in the final analysis, that's why your buddies died. They died because they thought the Constitution as a mothership for the greatest quality of life in the world was worth dying for. So everybody at the Spirit Campfire tonight, just say this to your kids every night before you go to bed. Tell them that freedom is not free. And the reason that they had a nice cushy day with unlimited food, and every time they turn on the faucet, you get hot and cold water, and you can turn the thermostat wherever you want it, and you haven't run out of gas, and there's no stores that don't have food. And we have it so easy in this country, but it's because we had fighters. We had fighters that fight the Japs and the Nazis and fight evil and fight the Taliban and fight the terrorists around the world. So, Mark, you already know that this is how I feel, but I know when I speak, and I think you know by now, Mark, and John, you've seen this from the communication we get at Spirit Campfire. This isn't a Ted Nugent thing. It's not like, I got an opinion on this freedom stuff. No, I know it, and everybody at the Spirit Campfire knows it. So a big salute, and you carry it on beyond Mark Geist. I know you do, but never ever fail to tell all those warriors how much we dearly pray for them and that we appreciate it. And here's what we apologize for: we haven't fought hard enough to make sure that our elected employees represent that Constitution, that common sense, that self-evident truth that your buddies died for. So we're going to start working harder on that. I have. I'm not bragging, but I always have. I've always gotten in trouble because I have the audacity to demand constitutional accountability and freedom from my elected employees and the dirtbags in the media. So everybody else, I think there's a huge pulling up of the bootstraps right now to make up for lost time. So Mark, you know that, and you spread that word wherever you go. I will. And it's this is the only thing I tell everybody when they say thank you to us. And we have a mutual friend, John Wayne Walding. Great guy. I mean, born on 4th of July and his parents named him John Wayne. He didn't have nothing to live up to, right? Well, John Wayne was on the side of a hill in Afghanistan and got hit by an RPG. One of his legs from the knee down about got severed off. And instead of sitting there whining about it, he grabbed what was left of his leg, pulled it up into his crotch, tied it off with some Curlex so it wouldn't be dangling around, climbed back up to the fighting line, and began taking the fight back to the Taliban. And this is what he says, and I told him I was going to steal it, is all he ever asks every American is live your life with purpose so that the sacrifice of those of our friends who have gone before us is not in vain. And bingo. That's all we ever ask is live your life with purpose. And that purpose is, as you say every day, is God-fearing, loving this country, willing to do whatever it takes, and holding those people who work for us accountable. They need to be reminded on a regular basis so their egos don't get too big that they work for us. Yeah. And we need to be up there yelling and screaming at them and making sure they understand that. Well, God bless you. Mark, let's name the heroes that were on that rooftop with you that we lost, so we don't forget them. Who were those warriors? That was Tyrone Woods, was a Navy SEAL, and Glenn Doherty, who was also a Navy SEAL. Two wonderful guys that were willing to give their life, and really Ty shouldn't have been there. He extended because he didn't want somebody else coming in who may not have known the lay of the land in the city as well. So he stayed for that. And for that, he lost his life. But I don't think he would have wanted to go out any other way other than fighting. But both him and Glenn were that. Glenn had that. He was that guy that you always wanted to have around you. I mean, he always had a smile on his face. If you're down or if anybody in the team's down, he's that guy that always brought you up. And if I had to get injured and had to fight by, anybody, those two, as well as Tonto and Jack and DB and Tig, couldn't ask for a better group of guys to serve with. And, it's thank you for bringing them up too. So God bless you as well for that. Well, Mark, thanks for sharing. John, I think we should have Mark on because I bet you the people would be fascinated. There's other elements to the Benghazi story. I think first and foremost is how those heroes were betrayed by our government, specifically Barack Obama, Eric Holder, and Hillary Clinton, and how this evil woman, Hillary Clinton, actually shook the hands of the families of those that were killed in Benghazi and knowingly and intentionally lied to them that it was about a video. She knew it was a lie, and she did it to the surviving members of the family members of those that were killed in Benghazi. She lied to them because we think we need to identify that the Democrat modus operandi right now, and only the guilty need to feel guilty, but it's so widespread, it's so identifiable with the Democrats that it is that deceit and that corruption and that criminal abuse of power that we're really fighting against today. So, Mark, this has been great. We do have to share a campfire ASAP. Mark was really instrumental in Hunter Nation and huntthevote.org, that we really got out a lot of American conservation families to vote for this great President Donald Trump. And like you said at the beginning, Mark, it really isn't over yet until we go the full process to make sure. And I'm just a guitar player, but let me see if I got this right. All the legitimate votes should be counted, and none of the illegitimate votes should be counted. Is that basically how it's supposed to work?
And you would think that every American, no matter where they sit, would want that same thing, because it's really about the future of our kids, of our grandkids. Because if we screw this up now, and we mess up where we don't have trust and faith in our electoral process, I have been in, 40, 50 countries around the world. I've been in where there's been elections and these banana republic elections. And that's what this is like, thinking that they can just do whatever they want. And the arrogance of those who don't want the truth to come out, and I just don't get it. Let the process go. Let the process do its thing. And if it's right, it's right. If it's wrong, it's wrong. But we have to save this country. We have to ensure that the people and the electorate have the understanding and have the trust in what we're doing. Yeah. And if not, then we might as well go the way of Argentina or Cuba or Russia or China or Cambodia, where we have Pol Pot killing millions of people. That disagree with them. We have tech people that don't, they get to decide what's going to be seen on social media. It's just ridiculous.
Well, thank you for being a fighter. You fought in official battles, but you also fight in this official American, we the people, constitutional battle. So, Mark, I know I speak for everybody out there that values this great American dream, this unique American dream, but thank you for that. And again, not just your military service and your private contractor service, but as a damn citizen, as a deer hunter, as a Colorado resident, which, by the way, we can talk about reintroducing the wolves, but we'll do that another time. It really is a royal cluster whack out there. But Mark Geist, thank you so much. Thanks for what you've done for bringing freedom and liberty to the American landscape and the American families. And you and I, hopefully with John Brenkus, will share a campfire in Texas this winter sometime and do the backstrap boogie like we mean it.
Hey, I think that would be terrific. We need to make that happen. We've been talking about it. Let's do it.
Absolutely.
Let's do it. I know Coco. What is your dog's name again? It's Roan?
Roan.
Yeah,
yep.
Because I know my dogs would. They weren't they together at one point? You came to the Spirit Wild Ranch and they kind of sniffed at each other. But yep. Roan is so well trained that even though she gave a few signals of dominance, we didn't let any tangles take place. But I think they would get along good at the Spirit Wild Ranch.
Oh, I think they would love it. They would love it. Get a run around and play. They just got to get used to each other a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that's another thing we have in common, Mark, is that we have an unhealthy attachment to our dogs.
That is true. That is true.
God bless you, Mark, guys. You and your family.
Mark.
God
Thank
bless
you so much.
I hope your hunting season continues great, and we will do the backstrap boogie in Texas, and hopefully Brenkus will be around the campfire with us.
Hey, John, it was a pleasure meeting you, Ted. As pleasure as always. And God bless everybody out there. Thank you for supporting us that serve you guys, and God bless y'all.
Yeah. Thank you, Mark. So, Ted, one of the things that's really important is, people like Mark. When you say people like Mark, there aren't a lot of them. He's special. He's really genuinely special. But one of the things that we were talking about earlier, I have a little bit of a different view on the current situation that we're in. I don't think people who cast ballots by and large for Joe Biden or any other candidate, I don't think those people represent the way that the country could potentially go off track. I don't think anybody is wishing that. I'm going to give everybody the benefit of the doubt that they simply disagree. I think that the most important thing to remember is that we need to be active being inactive is like inactivity is an action. That's a choice. That's right. So the way that you wind up in places where you're like, how did I get here? Is because all the things that preceded it, you didn't pay attention to. It's kind of like when you wake up and you're 50 pounds overweight. You're like, God, you know what? I've been eating bonbons for 10 years and now I realize it. So I think that we need to be measured. And, anybody who's tragically lost their lives, whomever it may be, we definitely need to pray for, especially those people just as good, as good God-believing, God-fearing people. I do believe in redemption. And I do think that there is a huge disparity in desire for which way the country could go. But I don't think that there is a, evil versus good at the level of citizens. I think that as we go up, it's all such a corrupt, toxic swamp that it's hard to make sense out of it all.
I agree, and that's a good overview on many levels, but I really do believe it is good versus evil, because I could only call Antifa and MS-13 and Black Lives Matter, I can only call them evil. They've come right out and said they're a Marxist organization. They've come right out and said they want to destroy the family. They want to destroy the Constitution. That in my world, that qualifies as pure bona fide evil. So the divisiveness is overdue, and it was the apathy and not confronting people that said, I think we ought to try this Venezuelan thing. I mean, Cuba looks good. They can't not know the oppression and the shackles and the slavery of those regimes. They can't not know it exists. So how else can they explain that they want to implement that in the United States of America? That's just brain rot.
I totally hear what you're saying. I'm going to choose to give people the benefit of the doubt and say, of the however many millions of people voted on the Biden side, I doubt they actually support terrorist organizations, even though those terrorist organizations were on their side. I doubt that 90% were like, I want that. With all that being said, the election isn't over until it's over. The press definitely does not get to call it. When they called it for Al Gore, it turns out that it ended up being George Bush. No matter what anybody thinks about that, things can happen. I think the big challenge here for those who really want Donald Trump in the White House is there is a massive unraveling to do. And if you want Donald Trump to be president, and if you know something, see something, like, you have to let everybody know, because it is such a giant uphill battle at this point. I think he's just going to run out of time. Yeah. That's what I think. It's a tangled web to unweave. So he's going to need all the help he can possibly get.
Yeah, again, I think it's best described as that we are now in the throngs of damage control, because we weren't participating in an effective and demanding way for quality control. The American dream takes extreme hands-on, diligent management. And when people go off the edge, and now you can do heroin in Seattle, in Portland, meth is okay, but they ban plastic straws. So I don't know how else you can explain that. Mental deficiency. Tell me the name of your dog, John. That's important.
Look, do you know the name of my dog? Zeppelin, as in Led Zeppelin.
What kind of dog is Zeppelin?
That's a Greater Swiss Mountain Dog. It's a Swissy.
Coco, over here. Come on,
our little doggy is awesome. We were going to name our dog. We had to name it Zeppelin. Just was too classic of a name.
Boy, I have so many dogs. I don't know if you see how mighty I can't turn. Coco, come on.
Come here, Zeppelin.
Come on, Happy Jackson. Come on, Happy Jackson. Come on. Here's Happy Jackson. This is Chattahoola. This is the killing machine right here.
Yeah, this is the licking machine right here. Look at my doggy. Look at her. Come on.
Happy is the world's greatest hunting dog. And then Coco, where's Coco? Thank you, Happy.
Zeppelin's super. Listen, I think your dogs are wonderful, Ted, but Greater Swiss Mountain Dogs rock too.
I got to tell you too, when you come to Spirit Wild Ranch, you got to bring Zeppelin. Come on, Coco.
I don't think Zeppelin would know what to do with Zeppelin is about as pampered and domesticated as any dog.
Well, Coco and Happy and say this is Coco. Coco is a Michigan State Police canine German Shepherd, and she's the world's greatest hunting German Shepherd for pheasants and doves and rabbits and squirrels and raccoons and duck. She's the world's greatest duck hunting Labrador.
Well, Ted, let's go out tonight. You haven't played. You picked up your guitar in the beginning. We haven't picked it up since. Why don't you give us something? This was a news flash. My wife ran this in. This is true. She literally just handed me good old fashioned piece of paper. Most people don't know what this is anymore.
Yes,
but Real Clear Politics just backtracked and are determining that Pennsylvania is still too close to call.
Wow.
So
wow.
Whether or not that gets any traction, the mainstream media certainly has gone down the track and they're already setting up the parties. But I don't know if that's going to weigh in at all, but it's the new news flash.
Well, I want to thank everybody who has been tuning in. We have a great run here. I got to get some gory details from my assistant, Linda. A big thank you to Linda and to Courtney and to Herbert and my manager, Doug Banker, and to Shemaine and Toby. I had a hell of a time getting this damn laptop or whatever this is, this Mac.
Yeah, the space machine.
Unless I get an email with the Zoom address, I have no idea how to start this damn thing up. So I also want to thank Patriot Mobile, because that is the rocket fuel of the Ted Nugent Spirit Campfire with John Brenkus. Be sure you do everything you can to support Patriot Mobile. It's a great conservative, constitutional, we the people company that has killer phone service. And Shemaine and Rocco and Toby and Sasha and Heather and Chantel and Louisa and all my kids, they're all changing over to it. We're getting ready for a great Thanksgiving. But again, everybody, this experiment in self-government demands engagement, participation. We all have a moral, intellectual, and I believe spiritual obligation to pay back the Mark Geist, to pay back the John Wayne Walding, to pay back the Joey Jones, and all those heroes of the military that have given so much for our American dream. So I will unleash a little spontaneous jam here. But John, thanks again for another Great Spirit Campfire. It's going on 9 p.m. on a beautiful Monday, November 9th, 2020. Yep. I'm going to keep hunting. I got skunk today, but I'm never going to give up.
Tilt that camera down.
See you Thursday night, John.
See ya,
got
everybody.
Thursday. I got the spirit. See ya.